Welcome to Matters of the Heart podcast with Rashonda, Sunday Thoughts episode edition. Sunday Thoughts are stories I've experienced in life, and I relate those stories to God's Word in a way where you can understand. It's never about preaching, but a discovery in trying to find God's voice and pick up a few lessons to be learned in our daily lives. This Sunday, let's take time to reflect and think about those experiences. God's messages are often hidden in plain sight in everything that happens to us, whether good or bad. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Sunday's Thoughts episode. You're listening to the Matters of the Heart podcast with Rashonda. I talk about inspiration, motivation, wellness, and mind peacefulness over here. I share experiences, advice, and knowledge to help you as well as myself improve our life and learn more. And the content is always 100% positive. Always, always, always. Guaranteed, pinky promise, or as I like to say, your money back. So, February is here and love is around the corner. Soon, Valentine's Day is going to come to knock, knock, knock on some of our doors. Although I don't feel love takes a holiday, but it is the day that the world celebrates. However, everyone isn't so celebratory. Let's talk about the other side of love and the heart. What if the person you're crushing on isn't returning the crush? Or what if the job you just knew you were going to get, you get passed up? And what happens if people just say no, period? Do you throw a tantrum, go into a depression? Well, it's enough to make you upset and they get a punch in the eye, okay? However, this is a Sunday's Tips episode, right? Because I got a couple of them that I feel will help all of us conquer the R word. So today's episode is entitled Rejection Sucks. Rejection sucks, but life doesn't have to. Rejection, unfortunately, is a word that no one likes to encounter. Rejection may be a bad word, but it doesn't have to be a death sentence. I will give a couple of tips where we all will be able to endure it. So stay tuned. I'll be right back after these messages. My husband chose the homewrecker over me. Now what? A guide to discovering, rebuilding, and moving forward after infidelity and divorce. While that title may sound a little strange, however, this book is not about bashing men. It isn't that kind of book. It is, however, a book about sitting in pain, whether due to a divorce or a common relationship. The journey is about dealing with the hurt and resentment of that broken relationship and moving toward healing, which will lead us to our God-ordained purpose and destiny. As long as you sit in the pain of an unresolved marriage or relationship, the pain will linger. This book will help you get through the pain, not to get retaliation, but to get back to loving you again. Heartbreak can last forever after a relationship if you don't have a guide. So let us help you get that heart fixed. Don't let your heart suffer another day. My husband chose the homewrecker over me. Now what? Will be available on Valentine's Day, but you can pre-order now from all your major book outlets. Your heart will thank you. Rejection is one of the most devastating things that anyone can deal with. The effects of it make you want to shut down from life altogether or make you feel like you have been handed a death sentence and sentenced to die, like right there on the spot. And if we're not careful, we'll carry out that sentence by killing everything that comes within our path. We'll put a torch to our dreams, goals, and aspirations with one match. And unfortunately, people too. While rejection can be hard to swallow, it doesn't have to be your death sentence. Let's face it, everyone is not going to like everything we do or say. They're not going to like everything you wear, your opinion, your thoughts on common life issues, and so forth. They're not going to like how you look or your personality. People tend to reject the things that they aren't familiar with or the things that they don't understand or have knowledge of. This may be due to how they were raised, their own rejections in life, or how they personally perceive certain things. They take that analysis and use it to belittle and or be demeaning to others whom either don't think, look, or act as they do. I've had my share of rejection in life, and it hurts. It hurts bad because basically we take rejection as saying we're not good enough. I have been rejected from getting certain jobs and or positions. I've been rejected for how I look, the way I think, my see the glass half full mentality, and the way I dress, wear my hair. I've even been rejected because I have a good personality and get along with a variety of people. And if I had listened to those rejectors, I wouldn't be here today because I would have allowed them to dictate my every move, including my dreams, aspirations, and future. Listen, just because you've been rejected doesn't mean you have to go through life living that way. It took me a while to get over rejection. However, I began reading the Word of God. There is safety, there is life in the Word of God. There I was able to see and read what God thought of me. He said in Psalms 139:14 that I was fearfully and wonderfully made, and His works were marvelous because He created me. Like, really think about that. God made you, and He made you marvelous. He made you great, fearfully and wonderfully made. And if you go on over into Ephesians 2:10, the NLT version, He calls you a masterpiece. That a masterpiece, that's like something that a sculptor or an artist, they really take their time and put a whole lot of effort into it, a whole lot of intentionality, right? So that's who you are. And another thing I did was I also began to hang around positive-minded people because we really are susceptible to our environment. I realized there wasn't anything wrong with me per se. After all, the world would be boring if everyone was the same, right? So why fit in when you were born to stand out? Okay, so I do have a couple of tips and hopefully they'll help you out, but I'll be back with those tips right after this message. You know, I've always been told not to ever judge a book by its cover. Some of the best books and movies I've read or seen came from questionable titles. However, they turned out to be some of the best books and movies I've ever seen. So what am I saying? My husband chose The Homewrecker over Me Now What? It may have a questionable title, but you can't judge the outside until you've read the inside. Just listen at this review. Wow, what a read. Vulnerable in your face, up from the ashes. Let me hold your hand, sis, and walk you out of it, guide. These ladies put their heart and soul into this book, said Karen Williams, marriage and relationship coach, founder of Coach for Life, LLC. So, my husband chose The Homewrecker over Me Now What may have a questionable title. Let it be your next best read. Releasing February 14th. Available now for pre-order at all your major book outlets. Welcome back. So we're going to get into these 6 Sunday tips on how to handle rejection positively to succeed. Number 1, rejection is a part of life that everyone, no matter your race, color, background, or creed, experiences, right? We've all have experienced some type of rejection in our lifetime. No exceptions, okay? Rejection does not discriminate, okay? It happens to the best of us. So no exceptions. And this rejection can come from relationships. It can come from jobs. It can come from family. Rejection is rejection. We've all experienced it, okay? So that's the first thing that I feel like we all need to understand, that rejection is a part of life. Life wouldn't be that great. I don't know about you, but I'm just speaking for myself, okay? Life to me wouldn't be that great if everything from the time I was born until the time God closes my eyes in death, that everything always went my way. You know, then I wouldn't know how to, I wouldn't know what heartache and pain, suffering, living from paycheck to paycheck. Without struggle, you can't appreciate the things that you do have. Okay, so, you know, rejection is a part of life. But we're going to get into something else. But rejection is a part of life, and it happens to everyone. Rejection doesn't like positivity. Number 2. So surround yourself with positive-minded people. Have you ever been around someone and it's like, no day is ever a good day? They get rejected, and honey, they living with that same rejection for a year, 2 years, 3 years. I mean, it's like a never-ending cycle with them. They just continuously living in that rejection. Okay, so you don't want to hang around nobody like that. Okay, because then you're gonna start to feel defeated. Listen, rejection doesn't like positivity, so surround yourself with positive-minded people. 3, rejection isn't always bad. And this is the other thing I said we was going to get into. Rejection isn't always bad. Sometimes rejection is a good thing. If you allow it, it can help us change our focus on the problem and focus on a solution. So rejection isn't always bad. Sometimes it really is a good thing. It really is a good thing that that God decided that he didn't want me, that he wanted someone else. It's really a good thing when that girl turned you down. Okay, maybe she wasn't for you. All right. The job. It's a good thing if you didn't get the job. Okay. I mean, I know you worked hard for it. I know you had the experience. I know, you thought you was going to get the interview, but it didn't happen. And to be honest, I'm preaching to the choir on that one because I had something like that to happen to me months ago. I really thought with my years of experience, that I was at least going to get an interview, at least. And I didn't even get an interview. I didn't even get a call. Next thing I know, I got an email saying, hey, thank you for, putting in your application. We chose someone else. Okay. So, it's like, man, you might have had somebody else in mind that you wanted for the position, but at least give me an opportunity. And just in that little moment, I felt like rejected. But you know what? It's fine because God knows best. I always love to call him the God of 1,000 years because he knows the second, he knows the minute, he knows the hour, he knows the day, he knows the month, he knows year from year, he knows everything. So, hey, maybe he seen that I didn't really need that job. Maybe he felt like, you know what, girl, you don't need that. You think you want it, but that job is going to make you have sleepless nights, okay? So don't feel bad because you didn't get the supervisory position. They looked you over and looked, at somebody else and gave them the position. It's fine. All things. Romans 8:28 says, for we know that all things work together for the good of them that love God, who are called according to his purpose. We know that all things work together. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. You didn't get it. They looked you over. Maybe they meant to look you over. Okay. Don't worry about that. One door closed. You go someplace else. They opening doors for you. Don't get mad. Get glad. So rejection isn't always a bad thing. Listen, take a positive out of a negative situation. Always look at it another way. I remember I worked this job and it seemed like no matter what I did, I always kept getting passed over. And I'm like, I know I'm doing a good job. I didn't only know this, but the people around me knew that I was doing a good job. But for some reason, I kept getting passed over, looked over, passed over, looked over. And it made me resentful. It made me feel bad. Like they study rejecting you. But you know what the Spirit of the Lord told me? Chalk it up and put it on the resume. Okay? So the new skills that I was learning, they kept passing me up, but every time they gave me something new to do, you know what I did? I put it on my resume. And do you know what that did? That got me the job that the Lord knew that I needed with way more money than the job that I was trying to get. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes rejection can be a good thing, okay? Find a solution to it. Number 4, have a healthy conversation about rejection with your kids and your teens. I feel like this is so important because our kids today are suffering. They're looking at all this stuff on TV. They're looking at this stuff in these magazines. They're looking at what's going on in school. You know, this person looked like this, but I don't look like this. This person got this type of clothes, but I don't got this type of clothes. I mean, it's a lot of things that's going on with our children. And I think the number one thing that you can tell your child or your teen is that just because you get rejected, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It doesn't mean that you got a problem. It doesn't mean that, you know, you're worthless or you're useless or anything like that. Rejection hurts, yes. It does. Okay. But we're all, you know, gonna get in this lifetime rejected from someone, right? You know, the girl don't like you. You know, maybe she say you too dark skinned. It's fine. There's plenty of girls out there that love dark skinned guys. Okay. Like there's plenty of men out there that love a good chocolate dark skinned woman. Okay. So every man out there ain't for the long hair, slim waist, you know, and all this other type of stuff. There are some men out there that say they looking for just an average woman. There are some women out there that's looking for average men. You ain't gotta look like this. Okay, you ain't gotta have this type of money. You ain't gotta be here. But we have to be confident in who we are. And I think that's another thing we need to tell our children is that confidence starts with you. You have to look in the mirror and be comfortable with what you see. Okay, I don't care what everybody else say you don't look like, what you do look like, and all this stuff. As long as you're comfortable with who you are, you know, you can be rejected by 15, 18 people. It don't matter because you know who you are. Okay. And when you know who you are and whose you are, nothing else matters. So, you know, rejection isn't just, it doesn't mean that something is wrong with you because there's nothing wrong with you. It could just be something wrong with them or they just being petty. Okay. So I think we should have a healthy conversation about rejection with our kids and our teens. 5, move forward. Rejection will happen. And when it does, don't allow it to stop you from enjoying life. Rejection is just a bump in the road. It's not an end to life. It's just a bump, not an end. Okay. You know how we go over speed bumps? Okay. We're not constantly riding over speed bumps. Okay. The speed bump is just there to let, hey, it slows you down a little bit, which is a good thing. But guess what? After you go over that bump, you can keep on going, you know, driving your regular speed. So it's just a bump in the road. It's just a little slowdown, but it's okay. It don't mean that that's going to be like that forever. 6, just be yourself. There's no one in the world like you, and there never will be. So make the best of who you are and give rejection a kick in the butt, okay? Because you're here to stay. And with that mindset, you'll continue to be undefeated by the R word and its many tactics. Remember, rejection doesn't mean you're not good enough. It just means that you hit a bump in the road. And as long as we live and breathe, we will definitely hit many bumps and curves. Keep in mind that rejection, while hurtful, could be God's way of saying wrong direction. If you learn to change your focus even towards rejection, then you can and will change your life towards how you allow the R word to rule it. Don't allow rejection to cause you to jump out of the plane without a parachute. You have control of your own life. Just make sure your parachute is packed for safe landing. The book is out. I've been talking about the book. You've heard the ads today. My husband chose The Homewrecker over me. Now what? A guide to discovering, rebuilding, and moving forward after infidelity and divorce. Written by Yolanda Randolph, as well as myself, Rashonda N. Blackman. Listen, you have to get your pre-order. Pre-order is available now. You can pre-order it at all your major book outlets, and it's available February the 14th, right there on Valentine's Day. So go and pick up a copy. It's amazing. I promise you it will change your life. And you don't necessarily have to go through a divorce and infidelity. The book is very well-rounded. So it's for anybody that's having any type of little relationship issues. So go and pre-order your copy today. That's all the time I have for today. Listen, if you like these episodes, share them with people you like and love. And don't forget to subscribe and rate the podcast on your favorite podcast stations. It helps the station get noticed by others who may also like or love this kind of content. I'll see you again on this Thursday because the first Sunday and the second Thursday fall on the same week. So you're going to get double the tips this week. Okay, thank you. You're welcome. This Thursday, I'm going to give you a couple of easy and free gifts you can give or do for the person you love or maybe like. So stay tuned, and until that time, be blessed. That was it for today's episode. I hope you were inspired and feel positive vibes whenever you spend some time with me, Rashonda, and the Matters of the Heart podcast. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to join me next time as we dive deeper into our spiritual, mental, and physical journey. You can follow Matters of the Heart podcast on Facebook to stay tuned for what's coming next. Feel free to share the episodes while you're here. Also, stay with me by subscribing wherever your favorite music and podcast stations reside. And as always, watch your heart because its actions will follow. Thank you for listening.